What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Cooking with Tammy, another $1 million segment. And the reason why we are putting the word $1 million before our creamy pepper steak and rice dinner is because we're going to be cooking up some elevated comfort. With that being said, let's get to cooking. As you can see, for a choice of steak, I'm going to be using sirloin steak. Now for this recipe, you could use ribeye or even flank steak. All right, we are going to talk about the steak for one quick second because I want to make sure that everybody's steak come out not only juicy, but soft and tender, right? Just like wood, right? Steak has grains. Even though you see the grains going in different directions, on this particular steak, the majority of the grains are going towards this direction. So what we're simply going to do is cut against the grain. And when we cut against the grain, that just simply means that we are breaking up the muscle tissue, all right? We're shortening the muscle tissue. And once you shorten the muscle tissue, it's gonna help you not to literally sit there and chew on your steak until your teeth or your jaws get tired. It's gonna be much more tender. You ever go out and order a steak and you're just chewing for hours and you're like, yo, I don't want to deal with this anymore. In fact, I just want to spit it out and eat the mashed potatoes or the sides. And that's because the meat was not properly cut against the grain. We are gonna add some oil because we wanna add some dry seasonings. And in order for the dry seasonings to spread easily throughout the meat, you need something wet, if you will, all right? And the oil is gonna get that job done. We're gonna combine some salt and ground black pepper. We're gonna go in light with the salt and ground black pepper because we can always add later on. Let's add some garlic powder. We're also going to add our onion powder along with our smoked paprika. Yes, you could definitely add smoked paprika to your steak. It's going to taste delicious. Let's add some dried thyme for a little herbaceous flavor. All right, we're also going to add some oregano. I also want to add some of my all-purpose Cooking with Tammy seasoning. This is definitely going to elevate the flavors. We're going to get it all mixed up. All right, in the meanwhile, let's get a nice sized skillet and we're going to sear our beef. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have a large size skillet, feel free to sear your steak in batches. Add some oil and we're also going to add some butter. The butter is going to help the steak to become nice and golden brown. If you don't want to add the butter, you don't have to. Make sure the pan is nice and hot. Just in case you're curious, this is 2 pounds of meat. Once it's finished, I'm going to remove it from the skillet and then we're going to sear this on up as well. It has that perfect sear going on. All right, nice brown color. This is going to be really good. If you haven't had great steak in some time, tonight is definitely going to be the night that you enjoy some delicious steak. All right, we're going to allow the other side to brown as well without overcooking the steak, of course. Just to let you know, right? Let you in on a little secret. We're going to be creating a sauce and we're going to be adding the steak to the sauce later. So if you don't cook the steak at this point in time at 100%, it's not necessary because we are going to be cooking it later. All right, let's go ahead and remove the steak. We don't want to dry the steak out. All righty, perfect. All right, to this very pan, we're going to add our onions and our bell peppers. I'm using green and red bell peppers. However, feel free to use whatever you have in the refrigerator. Slice them up and add them to the mix. All right, we're going to turn our stovetop down just a bit because we're sauteing our veggies. We're not searing them. Once the bell peppers and the onions start to saute, they're going to release their natural juices, and that's going to help with the deglazing process at the bottom of the pan as well. We're just going to wait for the bell peppers and onions to work their magic. About 2 to 3 minutes should be perfect. All right, as you can see, look at those natural juices in the pan, right? We're just going to make a little tunnel in the middle for us to add our garlic. All right, we're going to allow the garlic to cook, saute, toast up, whichever word you like. We're going to cook the garlic until it becomes fragrant and slightly softened. Garlic smells amazing. So with that being said, let's incorporate our garlic with our bell peppers and onions. Woo! This smells good. Make sure you really incorporate it. As you can see, our onions and even our bell peppers took on the color of all of the richness that we had sitting at the bottom of the pan. All right, we're gonna go ahead and remove our veggies from the pan and place them into a bowl, simply because we don't want to overcook our veggies. All right, we don't want them to go limp. We want to keep them nice and crunchy and still vibrant. We're not gonna get rid of this pan whatsoever. Okay, too many flavors going on in this pan to wash it out now, so we're just gonna keep going. To our pan, let's add some more butter. Allow that butter to melt down. Let's add some flour, stir it on in. We're gonna toast the flour for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. We wanna cook all of that floury taste out of the flour because we don't want our delicious creamy sauce to taste like flour. We want it to taste like actual gravy. We're starting to get some bubbles within the flour, and that's perfect. All right, that's your indication that the flour is perfectly cooked. At this point in time, gonna add some chicken broth, and that is definitely gonna deglaze the bottom of the pan. We're gonna continue stirring, combine all of the goodness together, and of course, adding the flour, it's gonna work as a thickener for our sauce. Let's add some Worcestershire to our sauce. After all, we are making an elevated sauce, right? And the Worcestershire sauce has 3 flavor complexities. You have the acidity, you have the sweet, and you also have the savory. Let's add it. All right, we're gonna add some low sodium soy sauce. A couple tablespoons is perfect. Let's add some Dijon mustard to bring out all of the flavors. Okay, let's add that heavy cream to the party. Let's stir it on in really well. Make sure everything is perfectly combined. This recipe, don't have to add cream cheese, but I rather add it because I have some cream cheese that's left over that I'm trying to get rid of. So why not? It's only gonna make it more creamier and decadent. Whisk it on in. All right, turn the flame down on low. Just keep working it until it breaks down, about a minute or 2. Let's add some Parmesan cheese for a nice nutty addition to our sauce. We're gonna add our sauteed veggies back to the pan. If there's any resting juices, we're gonna add that as well. Okay. Coat our veggies with the creamy sauce. All right, this looks great. Gonna turn the stove back up to medium heat, and we're also gonna add our steak pieces along with our resting juices. All right, let's get it all in there. At this point in time, we're gonna allow our steak to soak up some of the sauce. And it's gonna allow the steak to become even more tender. All right, as you can see, we now have a brown sauce simply because all of those brown bits that was sitting at the bottom of the pan helped to contribute to that color. All right, and that's about it. I'm gonna allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes on low medium. And in the meanwhile, let's work on making our delicious buttered rice. And also, we're gonna be making garlic and herb string beans. Let's go. We're gonna add about 6 cups of water and chicken bouillon. That's what I had in the measuring cup, in case you were wondering, like, what is that stuff in the cup? All right, the reason why I'm adding 6 cups is because I have about 3 cups of pre-washed rice. And because I'm using parboiled rice, the amount of water and rice ratio should be exact, all right? So we're just doubling the water to the rice ratio. 3 cups of rice times 2, 6 cups of water. Once we're done, we're gonna cover it down and allow it to cook. Check out the rice. The rice is fluffy and beautiful. To that, we're gonna add some parsley. We're also gonna add some butter for that extra creamy flavor. The rice is so hot, the butter took no time whatsoever to melt down. Let's make our garlic and herb citrus green beans. All right, for that, we are gonna start off with adding a small drizzle of oil. Okay, add some avocado oil or olive if you want. We're gonna add some butter. All right, to give it a nice buttery flavor. Okay. We're gonna add our green beans to the pan. We're gonna saute our green beans for about 5 to 8 minutes or until they reach the desired texture that you prefer. All right, let's add some garlic. You know what? Let's add the garlic to the middle. Add a good amount. After all, we are making garlic buttered citrus green beans. All right. To our garlic and herb green beans, we are going to add some of my garlic and herb seasoning. This will complement it well. All right. If you have this seasoning, you already know how good it is. If not, you could find it at cookingwithtammy.shop. We're going to add a good amount because this is very low sodium seasoning. Let's also add some of our yo who's hungry. Now this seasoning, it's not only herbaceous, but it's like an all-purpose seasoning as well. So it's like a 2-for-1 combo, if you will. We're going to toss them in the pan, make sure they're perfectly coated with all of the seasoning and garlic flavor. To help these green beans cook a little faster, we're going to add some water. A small amount goes a far way. And we're going to cover it on down and trap the steam, and that's going to speed up the cooking process by half. To bring out a nice burst of freshness, let's add some lemon juice. Fresh squeeze will get the job done. Garlic and herb citrus green beans coming right up. All right, gonna let it go for about a minute more. And then once we're done, we're gonna turn the fire off. We're finished, my loves. As you can see, the yellow rice turned out perfectly. Wow, nice and fluffy. We have our citrus, garlic and herb green beans, and we also have the star of the show, which is our creamy pepper steak with onions and bell peppers. This looks amazing. Look at how creamy and decadent the sauce is. Wow, this is nice. Beautiful pepper steak. Some peppers and add it to the top. Come in with our garlic and herb green beans, and we are ready to eat. Time for the moment of truth, family. Let's see how this turned out. Woo, this smells absolutely amazing. We have steak and we have rice. All I can say is melt in your mouth, absolutely delicious. The steak is tender. This is definitely elevated comfort. This is good. The buttered rice is everything. We got that burst of freshness going on for my green beans, and this is superb. You hear me? Woo! This is definitely a 10 out of a 10. This is good. This is absolutely delicious. Check this plate on out. Talk about country home style cooking, right? Like I said, elevated flavors. Whenever you see that $1 million word as promised in the caption, best believe it's going to be nothing but elevated flavors. This is creamy, decadent, moist, melt in your mouth, delicious. Everything ties together perfectly. Wow. Give this recipe a try, my loves. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to get these seasonings, my love. So well worth it. Absolutely delicious. And the good thing about these seasonings is, if you don't know how to cook, no worries whatsoever. The seasoning does the work for you. That's the great thing about these seasonings. But nevertheless, I'll definitely catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.